What is up, everyone? Bleeding Blue Podcast back at it. Episode 61. We are here. It is the end of September, and playoff baseball is just around the corner. Not for us Blue Jays fans, but that's yeah, at least. Hey, I'm a Mets fan, so that's all that matters, as I was saying before.
Nice.
So, but yeah, no, it's been an interesting week for the Blue Jays. Last night, I don't know if any of you guys got to watch that game. That might have been one of the most bullpen explosion games I have ever seen. Losing 12-8, I'm pretty sure. Lots of runs, lots of hits. But however, the bullpen just completely imploded. Chris Bassett went 3 2/3 and allowed one earned run one earned run and then 7 runs allowed because there was just errors. And it's just that's what a 70-win baseball team looks like. Errors. And they have some just absolutely horrible, horrible
It
games.
was actually 13-8 to make it even worse.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I it's funny you say that because last night's game I was watching, and then it was three nothing below the lead, then 7-3. Then the next inning, it's back to 7-7. And I had turned it off when it was 7-3 Texas, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is it. This is the game. Of course, they tease me again by scoring 4 more runs. Now it's 7-7. I go back to watch the game, and I'm like, oh, let's go. It's tied again. Maybe they can get some momentum. And then the next inning, it's 10-7. So that's the way this team functions. That's what happens when you follow a 70-win team. Like they're just going to the Blue Jays will be Blue Jays. That's kind of how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Toronto sports will be Toronto sports.
Exactly. And yeah, I think that's that's the sum of what had happened because of course they started off in what we did hadn't got into last episode was the series in St. Louis where the Blue Jays ended up sweeping. Or we did talk about that, didn't we?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
No, okay, no, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't get to
So we're
talk.
starting on a Wednesday. This is supposed to be our early week podcast.
Yeah,
Uh,
so it's
but
a little messed up, but anyway, uh, we got 3 games that we ended up missing where the Blue Jays ended up sweeping the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't know
and
how
you thought they were gonna go 1-2. Yeah, I didn't know either. I thought it would be 2-1, but yeah, a sweep is a rare occurrence with this team.
it is, and we've seen that a couple players have been doing very, very well for the Jays in the last little bit. Davis Schneider is the one player that I can think of. 3 home runs in 3 games in a row. So it's pretty good, man. I think it's pretty solid for him now, up to 13 home runs. He has been doing a lot better for the Jays, which is good to see. It's good to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that he has been decent for our team. But that's really it pretty much. So like other than that, David Schneider's been good. Vladdy's continued to be good. George Springer, he's been okay. Ernie Clement, he's been great. Same with Varsho now on the 10-day IL and Will Wagner. That's a big discussion topic. So those guys are on the IL while Stuart Baroa and Bo Bichette have been called up. Bo
Mm-hmm.
Bichette, called up. Thoughts? Let's hear it. How
It's good to see him playing again. Obviously, from his comments that we heard, it was it last week or the week before. I can't remember of him wanting to be a longtime Blue Jay. I think that's it's a great look on his part, and obviously coming back and performing. He went 2 for 5 first game back, so I think that's pretty good. It's a good
yeah,
sign heading into the end of the season. But yeah, I like it. Good to see
yeah,
him. Good to see him playing again.
yeah. No, for sure. I think he got 2 hits. Yeah, as you said, like he looked. I don't know. To tell you the truth, he looks a little bit chubbier. He looks a little bit more
Mm,
like he gained a little bit of weight, and that doesn't necessarily mean like oh my he fell off. Like sometimes he's just bulking up. Like he could have just been bulking up, and maybe that's a better shape that he needs to get into. Because sometimes the players are better. It's like would you tell Prince Fielder that he needs to lose weight? No, I don't think so. would you tell Vladdy that he need? Oh, there actually. I would tell Vladdy that he needs to lose weight when he a couple like last year because I think it actually affects him. Like I think it like affects his. But some players, it's just Prince Fielder played 162 games like 3 seasons in a row or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a whole thing of baseball. But anyway, I think Bo, I think he was kind of like this in 2023. Like he at the beginning of 2024, he was in incredible shape. He was absolutely just jacked, huge, and like just like very very lean, very very lean. But now he's gained a lot of that weight back on, and I think maybe that'll translate to what he did in 2023 when he was the same size. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching right here. I think I am, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing to notice. He does look bigger. He does look a little pudgy. So
Mm,
um, it's something I saw and I was like,
right.
interesting. I wonder what the reason for that could be. Like because like yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thing I noticed. But
That
anyway,
is for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, Bo Bichette is back. Also, Tyler Heineman, who's been on this team,
Mm-hmm.
like he was on the team in 2022, 2023, and now 2024. DFA'd by the Red Sox and then DFA'd by the Jays too, of course, which I thought was just wild. So I don't know. It's good to see the Magic Man back. I don't know if you know about this, but Tyler Heineman was a magician. He is a magician. Like he knows magic tricks, so which is pretty neat,
Yeah.
pretty cool to see. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what is on the news for baseball. Other than that, like the Mets are now in a playoff spot. Jays are out. There's a
We're
lot.
basically a Mets podcast now, for in terms of baseball for the next couple weeks, leading into the playoffs. What are they at right now? What's their situation?
Here, hold on. Let me just.
They are. Let me check the standings here. They are in a wild card spot right now. They are 2 games ahead of
Atlanta.
the Braves. Yeah,
They're
the Cubs are
83.
kind of out of it.
Yeah.
They're 6 games. Yeah, so it's just a race between the Padres, Mets, Diamondbacks, and Braves. So that'll be fun to see what happens at the end of
Yeah.
the season. AL side, the Tigers could be in the playoffs. That's pretty crazy to hear after their struggles, in past few years. Mariners are still just outside, but Boston still kind of has a chance, but not really. But yeah, Houston's probably going to lock in for uh, that division title. The
Yeah.
Royals it would be fun to see them play in the playoffs. Kansas City, the Twins. I don't know. I feel like they're just a boring team. Just one of those teams that just gets stingy wins and gets to the playoffs. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll
So
see.
they've got three or a game left against Washington. They have a chance to sweep tonight, which would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then they have a 4 game set against Phillies.
Ooh,
That'll be
tough
great.
series.
And then the 3 games against Atlanta will be another
Oh,
great.
that would be fun.
So
So
that's
they got tough games coming up.
yeah, and then 3 games against Milwaukee. And I think by then Milwaukee, Milwaukee, the Yankees, and I think one other team. I feel like
Oh yeah, Milwaukee's already got the division. Philly's basically got the division,
yeah.
unless the Mets somehow sweep them. The Mets sweep them, and it's just like a massive change in the standings, which I highly doubt will happen.
Yeah, the
And
Phillies.
then the Padres could potentially get the division. I don't know. Are the Dodgers playing the Padres later on in the season, or
Take a look. San Diego Padres. They face the Dodgers September 24th. They have they have the Houston Astros today, and then they got Chicago for 3 games, which I'm sure they'll be happy with that. And then after that, it is I think I want to say
series with the Dodgers?
Yeah.
They do play the Dodgers.
Yep. So
they play the White Sox for 3 games. That might be the series that decides whether or not the White Sox going to get the worst record, and they need 7 losses, right? to get the worst record in MLB history. I think that
Yeah.
that is unbelievable. 116 losses.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's just
That's so
terrible.
wild.
I know.
That's so wild.
Can't believe it. It's pretty depressing.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
Yeah.
They're one of the worst teams, if not the worst
Mm-hmm.
in the entire MLB.
Yeah.
But
Since we gotta mention something. We and Ryan have been discussing this the past week that we are now baseball is kind of ending, and usually baseball games it's basically one game every week, and it was good that we got to discuss each series every 2 times a week, but now we gotta switch to one podcast a week just due to scheduling and Leafs is coming up, so we can discuss that one podcast a week. It's not like we're discussing one game and then you're gonna get like 2 30-minute podcasts a week, which is kind of stupid. So we might as well just bring all of it together in one, and then we're gonna probably bring our top five and buy and sell segment into the one podcast just to make it a bit longer. One big podcast each week, and it's better for us in terms of scheduling because school started up again, and we got jobs.
we got busy lives, bro. Yeah, we got.
Yeah, so it's hard to schedule around 2 podcasts a week, as you could tell. As we're filming this on a Wednesday, so
yeah,
when we usually do Tuesday, but yeah, we'll probably get each one out every Tuesday, or Wednesday, depending on. Probably Tuesday's the best because then that's when the football week ends, and then we can discuss the Bills game every week, and then because the Bills play Monday this week, so it would be best to get those out, film that on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. But yeah, that's what we're switching to ahead of time, just for the time being, due to scheduling conflicts. But yeah, still giving out the best content in the game right now. So just saying,
that's facts, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's move on to our this week. We're gonna do a little bit shorter one, so let's just move straight into our top five.
I did want to mention though. I did want to
yes.
mention before we start. There was some big news in the TikTok world. As we saw, the Rizzler, he ended up doing the he was bike riding, and he was able to do one of the greatest tricks of all time, known as the four-leaf clover. And I just wanted to bring that up. This guy, he's becoming too much of an icon. He's becoming almost dangerous to the TikTok world and the TikTok universe. It's actually pretty insane what the Rizzler has been up to these days. Being able to do the four-leaf clover, that's honestly fucking insane. So I'll say that right now.
Yeah.
The Rizzler, everyone who's in the content game, beware. Take over. He's a gangster. That's the best way I can describe it. He's a
Wait,
gangster.
I have a picture of the Rizzler in his natural habitat.
Hey, we're looking at. I'm looking at him right now.
So we have the Sopranos cast, and as you can see here, there is, I don't know, it's not focusing well, but I don't know if you can tell, but that is the Rizzler with the Sopranos cast. So Tony Sopranos, he's the Rizzler is actually the boss of Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
So just to let you guys know.
The
Rizzler is on top right now. He's on a generational run, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, bro. I wish I could do the Riz face, but I can't. Yeah, only the Rizzler can.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's the master.
Let us move on though to our next segment as we move on from baseball, because right now there is nothing to talk about in the baseball world because Jays suck. And so it's
all right though.
To stay positive. All right. Next year, man. Next year we sign.
It's all right.
Next year we sign Anthony Santander and have the worst outfield. Just DH George Springer and Santander, Varsho, and Juan Soto. And then it'll be
nice.
Vladdy, Soto, and Santander. It'd be an fucking roster.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, let's move on to our next segment, our top five. This is a really good top five, though.
Dude, I was waiting for this one, man. I was waiting for this. I think it's the perfect time. Top five sports nicknames. There are so many good ones. It is really hard to make a top five of this because I could make a top 25 and I'd still have trouble. Because you could pick so many from different sports. Not even just sports. Like there's a lot of nicknames in general that you can go with. Obviously, my nickname's the best, Money McCabe. Obviously, I put that number one. But aside from that, let's focus on the sports here. I'm gonna go first here because I think I have the best list here.
All right.
We have an. I did. Did you do an honorable mention?
Yep.
Okay, all right. We had to because there's too many good ones. As my honorable mention, I'm going with the classic Babe Ruth. No one called him by his first name. I forgot what his first. I don't even know what his first name is. That's how good that
I
nickname is.
swear I know. I should know this.
Let me search this up. George Herman.
George
Herman
Fuck,
Ruth.
yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
George Herman Ruth. Yeah. So you don't even know his first name because how iconic Babe is. He also has many other ones like the Sultan of SWAT, Great Bambino. Obviously, the Sandlot basically idolized those nicknames and made it legendary. Obviously, it was legendary in the past, but the Sandlot kind of did it for me. So I have that the honorable mention. Number 5, I have Kobe Bryant, aka Black Mamba. Just an insane nickname. Really cool. Named after a dead like a venomous snake. Just really cool. I don't know what else to say. Just badass. Obviously one of the greatest basketball players ever. Greatest ever to ever do it. Best Mamba mentality obviously is another one. Because he had one of the best mentalities I think of any human being ever. So I got to put him at number 5. Rest in peace, Black Mamba first. Number 4, I have the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Obviously the greatest team sport athlete of all time. The great one because he's the greatest in all of team sports and also in hockey. But if you're called the great one, you're solidified as the best. And obviously, 99 is basically I don't know if it's an unwritten rule or it's actually true that they retired 99 around the league just because of how good Wayne Gretzky was. But yeah, I'm going to put him at number 4. Number 3, just because of how iconic he is and his legendary status in the sport of basketball, Air Jordan. Michael Jordan has to be up there just because, obviously the Jordan brand, the shoes, and, how iconic that contract he signed when he was a rookie, how his mom convinced Nike to give a contract that was worth 10% of the profit or the 10% of the sales of every Jordan shoe, which is unreal how a rookie's able to pull that off. I don't know if you've seen the movie Air with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. There's a bunch of people in that movie, but go check it out if you want to hear the whole story behind the nickname and how the shoe was made. It's a really cool story. But yeah, Air Jordan is fantastic. Fantastic nickname. Everyone knows it. Even if you don't even watch sports, basketball, everyone knows who Air Jordan is and the shoe. So I got to put that number 2. Number 3, sorry. Number 2, I was really close to putting this at number 1, but then I realized that there was another one just a little bit better. Tiger Woods. Obviously a massive golf fan. But when you hear the name Tiger, like you don't even know what if you hear Tiger Woods, I'd say 99% of people wouldn't know what his first name was. His first name's Eldrick, but Tiger is just so, iconic and let's go Tiger. That's like, he was probably the biggest like celebrity on the planet for a good 2 years when, he had that scandal with his wife and stuff. And obviously one of the greatest individual athletes ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even a question, but just the fact, Tiger is just a crazy name to have as your kind of like Magic Johnson in a sense, who I don't have on my list, but you don't even know the guy's first name. That like no one knows his first name, but you just know him by Tiger. And I think that's just a really cool nickname. And just, the animal tiger obviously is insane. And the backstory behind it too is kind of a long backstory to go behind, but basically his dad was in the war. I think it was the Vietnam War or something. And he basically this guy he met in the war, his nickname was Tiger. So he promised to his buddy in the war, Tiger's dad's buddy, that he would name his son or nickname his son Tiger after him. So I thought that was a really cool story. I read the book about it,
Hmm.
and it's just I think it was just a really cool story and backstory behind it. And obviously Tiger, one of the greatest to ever do it. And speaking of greatest, at number one, I have Muhammad Ali, the greatest. I mean, can you like, is there anything better than that? Like being called the greatest?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's anything better than that. So, obviously, the best boxer ever, debatably the best athlete ever. Muhammad Ali has like the greatest. Like, you can't. There's nothing better than that. So, I have to put that
Wow.
number one. I have to put that number one.
Cool. All right. I've got some,
Really tough list though. Really
dude.
tough list.
Yeah.
I had
I don't
so
know.
many like on the edge. I could have put on my list.
I don't know. Yours is good. I just don't know because you also have to include creativity within that list. Tiger
Fair enough.
is a
I just
great
did.
name.
I feel like I went to iconic and like everyone knows the name. But I do respect like I had a lot of creative
Yeah.
names in the back
So
of my head.
that's kind of for me. So I got a couple ones like that.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
some, we'll see. I'll tell you right now. So my honorable
Okay.
mention, I think this nickname perfectly encapsulate this player. I'm gonna go with the baseball player, as you know, but don't worry, don't worry. The big unit, the big unit,
Oh
Randy
yeah. Yeah.
Johnson
Yeah.
is an awesome name for an awesome player. His presence on the mound, the big unit is just perfectly. That's how I remember when my dad told me. It was like he threw the first pitch to some ceremonial game, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's the big unit," and I was like, "The big unit." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess that's true. 6'10", like just this guy throwing 99, looking like Big Bird. Like he is insane. So big unit, I think honorable mention. You got to go that. That's a great nickname for just a great player. Number 5, I got Joe Cool for Joe Montana. What
Okay.
a name, man. I mean, Joe Montana already itself is a sick name, and then it's a cool name, and then you add Joe Cool. So I think for a guy like Joe Montana to have a cool nickname like Joe Cool just perfectly suits him, and also as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Number
Mm-hmm.
4, one of your picks, Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Yeah.
a terrifying animal, the Black Mamba, a terrifying snake, and it's totally encapsulates his intensity, his raw need for victory and competition. It totally. Every time I think of that, it perfectly reminds you of who Kobe Bryant was and what he was like on the court. And yeah, so that's why I got number 4, Black Mamba. Number 3, Jake the Raging Bull LaMotta, I think, is
Mm-hmm.
one of the greatest nicknames for especially somebody like Jake LaMotta, who was one of the most insecure people to ever exist on this planet, as we know from the film. Great film. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But Raging Bull perfectly is a great name for any sort of boxer. Somebody who's a boxer with all that fighting with all that force, like a raging bull that just erupts intensity. It's totally. It's just that name brings you back to that time in the 1950s and 40s, and just like when boxing was alive and one of the greatest sports of all time. So I just think Jake LaMotta, the Raging Bull, is an incredible nickname for a fighter. Number 2, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, Mr. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. Mr.
Mm-hmm.
October. It's one of the names that describes how incredible he was in the postseason, hitting 3 home runs in a row. I'm pretty sure at Yankee Stadium in the playoffs. That's one of the greatest feats anyone could do. When you're named after how good you are and how you're able to show up in the playoffs, Mr. October, and that's your nickname because of how good you are in the playoffs, it pretty much means you're a pretty incredible player.
What's Jeter's name again? Mr. November. Isn't that
I
his
think
nickname?
so, yeah, Mr.
Because he is
November.
so good in the World Series.
Yeah, Yeah. So I mean, but November, the World Series is only for a few days in November, obviously.
Right.
But
October just rolls off the tongue better too.
Mr. October, yeah, I used to call him Doctor October. That's what I thought his name was. But then my dad,
Mix it up with
somebody,
Dr. J.
Doctor J. That's another good one. I just don't know that guy enough. I only know Doctor
Right.
J. But Mr. October, great name for again Reggie Jackson, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. And then at number one, another one of your picks, but not number one, the great one. Similar to
Yeah.
the greatest, the great one. I think you just anytime somebody says like argues who is the greatest hockey player of all time, you just got you say the great one. It's the great one.
Yeah.
It's the great
Yeah.
one. People know automatically. And also having that nickname 100% solidifies you as the greatest hockey player of all time, which he was. He just was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Wayne Gretzky, a living legend. That nickname, it'll go down in infamy. It'll go down in history. It's incredible. I think one of the best hockey player of all time, one of the best athletes, and the great one perfectly represents that. And
Yeah.
that's my list.
I was gonna tell the ones that were just outside my list. So I had Teddy Ball Game. Ted Williams, I think, is fantastic.
Hmm?
I love that. I love that name. Primetime Deion Sanders. I'm not a big fan of him personally, especially since he's become a horrible college football coach. But the nickname is awesome. And Jason Williams, White Chocolate, I think is
Yep.
fucking awesome too. I love that nickname. So
Yeah.
so I got Jason Williams there too. He's on the edge.
For me, I wanted to do the Great Bambino, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just couldn't. I was like too many baseball, and I was like, unit is way cooler.
I think I got it in your head that you've been doing too much baseball top five stuff.
I know, but it's because it's to me is like, oh, that's like, oh, I love that nickname because I love those players too, and I love that, or I love that whatever it is. I love that broadcaster because I've listened to him
Right.
so many more times than I have
Right.
than a football broadcaster. But I think like, yeah, there's so many. I think like. I'm trying to. I have a list here. Cujo is like a sick one for Curtis Jones, I think, even though he's not as popular of a player. The Say Hey Kid for Willie Mays.
How about just the kid?
Allen Iverson. Yeah, the kid is awesome. Allen Iverson, the answer. Air Jordan, obviously. Reggie White, the Minister of Defense. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's probably up there with Lawrence Taylor as probably the best defensive player ever.
Dale Earnhardt, who is a race car
the Intimidator. The Intimidator.
Yeah,
that's a good one. It's a good one.
Elroy Hirsch, Crazy Legs. I guess that's like a very old football player.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron, Hammer and Hank is awesome.
Yeah, really good. There's a football player, Walter Payton, named Sweetness. I thought that was really. I love Walter Payton and that 85 Bears team. Something special, man.
Yeah, and then Mr. Hockey for Gordie Howe.
Yeah, I was this close to putting it on there. That close.
I don't know.
You're named after the sport.
I know.
That's Mr. That's being called Mr. Baseball or Mr. Football. Being named Mr. Hockey. I mean, come on, right?
I get that though. I totally understand why, because he played hockey until he was in his like 50s. Like he was.
Yeah, he played for like 27 years.
Yeah,
professionally. And he just embodied the sport so much, like, right?
He was obsessed.
He has a stat line named after him: the Gordie Howe hat trick, the goal, the assist, and the fight. Like that. He obviously. I think the thing is though, like he didn't have many of those in his career. I think he only had a couple. But I don't know. I just because how the way he played the game, and obviously over almost 2,000 points, and a big physical guy on the wing, just or not. He didn't play the wing; he was center. But
yeah,
just the fact that he embodied the sport so much, and obviously a great guy. And Wayne Gretzky idolized him when he was younger.
Yeah,
I think Mr. Hockey's the perfect name for him.
Yeah.
But there's so many out there. We could be on here for another hour just naming sports nicknames that
Mhm.
are fantastic. So
You're right. I know. I keep looking like Sugar Ray Robinson. I forgot about like yeah, I didn't
right,
even realize that was a nickname.
yeah.
Like that was his real name.
Iron
Magic
Mike
even.
Tyson,
Who?
Iron Mike Tyson,
Iron
Iron
Mike
Mike.
Tyson. I guess that one's okay. Super Mario for Mario Lemieux. Julius Irving, Smoking Joe, the Kid. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of good ones. Anyway, anything else you have to add, my friend?
No, we'll be back next week to talk Bills, and hopefully, they beat the Jaguars on Monday night.
Oh, that's
And
incredible.
yeah, that'll be a nice little 3-0 start to the season. I don't want to
Prediction?
get ahead. I don't want to get ahead to myself, but yeah, we can do a little prediction. Honestly, I honestly not that confident going into this game because the Bills are not very good against the Jaguars. No
Jaguars
matter
are
what
0-2
situation.
though, man. They're terrible.
No, they're not terrible. It's just they've come up against tough teams, and you know, the Bill. Despite this feels like a trap game to me, but I will say the Bills will win the game. I will say it would be closer than the Dolphins game. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Bills win by a field goal. I'm going to say 24-21. The Jaguars defense is very stingy. They also have a Josh Allen on that defense, and he is very good. So uh, you never know what could happen, dude. You never know what could happen. So I'm just gonna go. Bills win by a field goal. It's gonna be close, but still confident, but not as confident as the Dolphins game.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say they win. I think they have. Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on a. They're not doing well so far. They've been on a little bit of a slow start to the season, and continuing from last season, I saw. But I think, yeah, 3-0, baby. And then you lose to who do we play fourth? Baltimore.
Baltimore is going to be an interesting game because they're 0
They're
2.
also 0-2.
They
Yeah,
are
which is
0-2, which
surprising.
I did not see coming at the beginning of the season. So that'll be an interesting Sunday night game.
Hmm.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll have all that discussion for you guys next week. So be
Yeah.
prepared.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to check out the Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. We on all those apps, Spotify. Enjoy the rest of your week and cheers.